Yeah, feel free to tune in. Yeah, kind of shallow to everyone that's gonna join in. That is on the right. And yeah, there's a lot of things going on in the world today. You know, a lot of things going on. 2024. Right? I'm gonna pull up a few articles because obviously, even we see with, the earthquakes, right? Just the of the so-called news, right? How many earthquakes have taken place, right? See, as well, I'm gonna put up an article in regards to it. Um, I'll just read it. I'll just read it. Yeah, I'll just read it. Yeah, there's a lot of things kind of brewing right now. So let's see what, and I'm sure us being watching for Israel. Hey, you're not watching. You're doing something wrong, right? So I'm sure everybody's seen the news recently. Um, the UK striking Yemen. It's a matter of time before 'cause it's like a family member, kind of someone attacks your family member, right? Or in the world, you can probably come after my family members now. We're going to come after you. So you see the same thing here going on in this so-called Middle East region of the world, right? You see Houthis, right? Because really, they don't really speak for the whole of Yemen, but they are a militia within that country. So with what's going on in Israel now, right? Hamas and the Jews, right? You can see there that that's it's a domino effect. Literally, it's a domino effect. Like if you go back into the Cold War, for example, like America, Russia, right? It's kind of similar, it's the same thing. There were small little things going on in the eastern hemisphere of the world. America were trying to do was literally stop that from happening. So what they would do is they would send militia or people to create coups in the world to kind of disrupt it. So you see, like with Cuba, for example, is another good example. Where Russia now kind of got involved with Cuba. And now they put missiles in Cuba, right? So now they're within striking range of America. And that was in the Cold War. You see that thing even trickle down in the Eastern Europe I was mentioning, the places like your Vietnams, right? Your Cambodians, right? All these so-called Asian countries. You can see that. So really, what we have here is the same thing, right? America is just trying to kind of the Babylon really is trying to save and kind of pick up the pieces, but it's not really going to happen because and that's why the division amongst the nation, not everyone's the same. So we're never going to really be able to live in peace. But we have, certain cultures that we follow, right, that are different to what those of the so-called Arabs follow, right? Same thing with Native Africans, same thing with so-called Asians, right? They don't all the same. So us being in one place together, that's why there's division. How would we be able to follow Islam? We were assimilated. You see, in captivity, the Syrians, the Medes, the Greeks, the Egyptians were assimilated into their culture, right? And follow what they do. That's not like now. But division has been something that's been from the start, right? And that's how the world's going to go out. It's going to go to division, right? So I'm going to read this article. Right? It says, U.S. and UK launch strikes against Yemen, and it says Houthi rebels promise to retaliate. So you can see here, just like we've seen, in the 60s, for example, right, with the World War, right? There were things that like you punch someone and now they retaliate. What do you expect? And I think I've seen a brother sent me an article where it said that the UK said that it was self-defense, and it's like for something to be self-defense, it's like that's your uh, uh, initial reaction there and then. You haven't flown thousands of miles to get over there to now say, okay, that's self-defense. That doesn't make any sense, right? Self-defense is okay. Maybe someone hurt me, and I just respond to defending myself. That's not self-defense. This is a revenge, really. Revenge, that's what it is. It's revenge. Because you, like I said, say somebody attacked me in Main Street. Let's say somebody attacked me in Main Street, and then I kind of waited 2 weeks down the line. Right, I kind of followed all the way down to Dawson Kingston. The next couple of days. That's revenge. That's not isn't self-defense. So I think even with how the UK is, they're very kind of they're hypocrites really. With how they govern the world, and with the world, so with how they govern the country, they're hypocrites, right? Because if you oppress somebody, right, you're going to see them want to react, right? That's normal, right? It says, so the Houthi rebels promised to retaliate, and it says, if you say all US and British interests are now legitimate targets, right? So now you can see really there's like a little pot, most guys can turn up the fire, right? It's getting hotter and hotter until it just overloads, right? It says this. This is on Al Jazeera. Al Jazeera is quite a good non-biased news. We have CNN, all these BBC, right? It's not really, they promote their agenda that they want, right? It says the United States and Britain have launched military strikes in Yemen in response to Houthi rebels attacks on shipping in the Red Sea, rising fears of an escalation of conflict in the region. So really, right, it's just okay, Esau, right, is hungry for war, right? If you spend so much money on something, you're going to want to use it. We just kind of bought this new bazooka, we're going to test it out. We bought these new planes, we're going to test it out. Esau's hungry, right? It says, hours after the attacks early on Friday, which the rebels said killed 5 people, the Houthis warned that all US and British assets have now become legitimate targets. Right. So how do you think that trickles down to even in places like Europe, for example? Because sometimes you see there's pockets of so-called Israelite or Arab people that are in these countries. Do not think that their spirits are going to be stirred up to commit attacks, right? Because you see that happen in places like France, for example. When they killed that kid, it was uproar, a riot, and that's what's going to happen. And really, it's like these countries kind of build up themselves to be destroyed because you're building up, let's say, for example, in these countries, kids that see their family get completely just destroyed, he's going to grow up with that same image in his head, right? And Ishmael's a wild man. He's going to grow up with that thought in his head. And he's going to say, okay, when I'm 16, right, I'm going to be out there. Or when I'm 20, and they travel to Europe, and then now there's an explosion, in the damn move, right? So, yeah, man. So it says here, US President Joe Biden said the strikes followed unprecedented attacks by the Houthis on commercial ships in the Red Sea and warned he would not hesitate to take further action if necessary. So, and that's the entitlement. That's the really white privilege that America, the UK promote, right? Unprecedented attacks. Really, that region in the Red Sea, that's where the Houthis are. What the hell is America coming all the way over to say, okay, cool, we want to be around there. We're gonna do what we want. That's entitlement, really, right? It says these targeted strikes are a clear message that the United States and our partners will not tolerate attacks on our personal or allow our personnel, or allow hostile actors to imperil freedom of navigation. Biden said of the attack by air and sea. I mean, it's something that's where you see Esau and this regime, right, that they have it's hypocrisy because they've been the ones that have literally orchestrated all over the world, right, the destruction of all nations. So it's like, how does that make sense? Are we now going to say, well, this is an attack on our civilization? Really, it's just people are tired of the rulership that's in place, governing the world. You see people going into things like BRICS, right? Where they're departing, dropping the dollar, right? The dollar banks here, banks in America are closing, right? Because people are dropping the dollar. They're joining BRICS, right? With Brazil, Russia, India, China, and I believe it's South Africa, right? Exactly. You see, they're building their own alliance, right? A new world order, if you want to say, right? That's what they call it, right? But there's a lot of things really brewing, and we got to be watchful, right? It says the attack struck nearly 30 locations in Yemen with more than 150 munitions. U.S. Lieutenant General Douglas Sims, the director of Joint Staff, said late on Friday he did not expect a high number of casualties at the targets include those in rural areas. But he said Washington expected the Houthis to retaliate. So it's almost like it's playing possum. It's almost like, okay, cool, uh, somebody does something to me, right? Or no, not even someone does it. They just want to do something to them because that's not affecting them, now. But it's affecting their interest. And then they say, we've got to step in now. Entitlement, right? So they go and do that now. Then when these, you start seeing atrocities taking place in these countries, like in Europe, right, America, right, in Britain, well, why do you think that is? People are literally, their spirits are being raised up. Okay, cool, right? And that's what it is, right? I want to read a verse on that, right? Go to uh, Genesis. Genesis. I'm going to read the blessing that Esau has, right? It's quote unquote blessing, right? So this is the book of Genesis, chapter 27, and I'll start from 38. And it says, it's Genesis 27, verse 38. And Esau said unto his father, Hast thou but one blessing, my father? Bless me, even me also, O my father. And Esau lifted up his voice and wept. And really, that's that Karen spirit, right? That's that Karen spirit within the so-called with Edomites. They have that Karen spirit, right? That's the first instance of Karen, right? As an effeminate Edomite man, right? It says, verse 39, and Isaac, his father, answered and said unto him, Behold, thy dwelling shall be the fatness of the earth and of the dew of heaven from above. So Esau today, whoever the hell that is, right? The Edomites, they have the fatness of the earth. And who do you think owns the land, right? And they're defiling the land because they give us, these GMOs, right? They're trying to say, cool, you see Bill Gates kind of getting he's freaking off of it. He's kind of saying, okay, I'm gonna take that land, and take that land. And even in the UK now, I think they're telling farmers to also sell their land, right? So they can now say, okay, cool, let's give them some more GMO, right? But Esau has the fatness of they have is the fatness of the earth, right? And who is that, right? Verse 40, and it says, and by thy sword shalt thou live, and thou shalt serve thy brother. And it shall come to pass when thou shalt have the dominion that thou shalt break his yoke from off thy neck, right? So Esau is going to live by the sword, right? And when we go into it, we see that there's no other nation, right? Then, for example, Americans, Russians, right? So the Israelis that spend the most amount of money on their weaponry, right? They spend the most amount of money, showing you that they're living by the sword. That's how they've gained their riches. By going to India, anywhere in the world, like Argentina, all these places, right? Even to do with the American Revolution, so called. They've gone there, right? Established themselves there, and they said, "Cool, we're going to take over this land, getting rid of the native Indians, right? Doing colonization, right? Taking over everywhere, living by the sword, right? That's what we see today, right? And it says, verse 41, and Esau hated Jacob because of the blessing wherewith his father blessed him. And Esau said in his heart, the day that my father are at hand, then will I slay my brother Jacob, right? That's what's going on with us. We're being persecuted. We're the ones going through a hardship, right? We're literally, and this thing of slaying, you can really see that as double wisdom, really. Like we're also being literally killed and spiritually killed, being destroyed, right, by the people that are supposed to be the judges, right? Supposed to judge the world correctly. But, they shouldn't be the ones who want to ship us. We see that they're judging the people incorrectly. They're persecuting our people, right? So that's what you see with so-called European, right, today, right? So yeah, Zechariah just dropped. He says fatness. Yeah, the meaning of it is the state or condition of being fat, obesity, richness, right? Corpulence, fertility, abundance, the fatness of the land, right? And that's what they're rich with. We don't really have land, and even the land that's let me get that as well. Let me get that in 2028, because that's one of the curses that our land is going to be given, taken to another and given to another people, right? Right? Because really we should be in our state, but due to our disobedience, we see it wrong, right? It's the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28 and verse 33. Right? It says, the fruit of thy land and all thy labors shall the nation which thou knowest not eat up, and thou shalt be only oppressed and crushed always. Right? So the fruit of thy land, right? That's the minerals we have, right? The minerals, right? The gold, the silver, right? Cobalt, all these things, like the oils even, right? We have these things in our life, right? But who's profiting off of this? Chiefly, it's not our people, right? Only now you see with this so-called removal of the Western powers from out of Africa, for example, you see now they're kind of starting to kind of take back power. You understand, right? You can see they're taking out the French from West Africa to kick them out, right? And really a lot of dealings that are done with these Edomites is in the detriment of the country itself. You never profit. They think you take 95%, you get 5. That's not a fair judgment. That's not something that's fair. That's oppressive, right? So it says the fruit of our land and all thy labor. So our people be working for the smallest buck, right? The smallest amount of money. Everything that we do today is literally we don't get anything from it, right? And the lands, even in this land, right? Because we spent on what? You have to pay rent, you have to pay this, and then you come to the end of the week. Okay, where's our money gone? We spent it on rent, right? So the fruit of the land, right? It's minerals in Africa, for example, the labors, right? Stuff we do, we don't profit off of it, right? A nation which we don't know, right? Somebody that's not the same people as us is eating from it, right? And even you see that with the Russians and the Chinese, for example, they're coming into Africa. Obviously they're giving. It's a bit of I'd say a more fairer way to do it, but even still, when it's not amongst your own people, you see that there's going to be always going to be turmoil anyway, right? So they're kind of building, giving in exchange, building like train liners and all these kind of stuff. If jobs to the people there as well, whereas the West, you take 95%, you get 5. You know what I'm saying? So thou shalt be only oppressed and crushed always, right? So in our land, we're not profiting from off the land, right? Exposed, right? A lot of these parts come from this Congo, for example, right? So the people there, they're in, you have people, you have kids that are, you know, as young as maybe 6, 7, 8, working in these mines, right? Trying to get the items, the cobalt and all the gold, get the jewelry, things to create these devices, right? They're being oppressed and crushed, right? And then, this regime that do that, a lot of these people, Amalekites, which so-called Israelis, they go there, they don't ever get nothing. Because this place in the UK, what thing goes here that we can move other than like potatoes? I don't really know what else is in this land. They got yeah, they had some coal, yeah. There's a coal revolution or something, but then that died out. So they're really in these lands. That's why you see with how Esau moves, he has to go to other places. He has to fight the land. He's colonized, right? Made these little weird backdoor deals with people, and maintaining it. But really, it's greed, man, right? But and I'll get this another one as well. In verse 45, right? Deuteronomy 28 and 45, it says, moreover, all these curses shall come upon thee, and shall pursue thee, and overtake thee, till thou be destroyed, because thou hearkenest not unto the voice of the Lord thy God to keep his commandments and his statutes which he commanded, right? Because, and I'll jump back to verse 47, sorry, because thou servest not the Lord thy God with joyfulness and with gladness of heart for the abundance of all things, because we had these things of riches and all that, we had that, right? We had, right? So you see that when the right people are in rulership and judging the nation, right? There's, like for example, during Solomon's reign, right? There was peace. Even though Solomon had many strange wives, there was peace because there's demons, fair demons that we take some occasion and give us birth, for example. That's fair demons. That's how we're supposed to be, right? But we see that when the wrong people are in rulership, you see that that's not what happens, right? So I'm gonna kind of get into my lesson. I'm gonna go over judgment. We're gonna go over judgment. What we see in that judgment and wicked Israelites. Right? Judgment and wicked Israelites. Because there's a misconception that we have in Christianity where it's, you can't judge me. You can't judge me. That's the false narrative that is shown. Right? But it literally, there's a book called Judges. We just skip past that, and a lot of the time, that's where you see really, they say, okay, don't read the Old Testament. They don't read the Old Testament. Don't read that. You don't want to do that. Just love, grace. That's it. Right? Grace. It's not, if it's not grace, I don't really read it. You open that New Testament, is that Old Testament? You don't want to hear that. Right? A lot of the time, that's what Christianity does. But really, when you read it, like for example, like it says, for example, Romans 9 and 13, for example, to paraphrase the verse, it says, as it is written, right? Showing you that there's, and like who's writing, for example, a lot of what's being quoted is from the Old Testament, so called. And I didn't even like calling the Old Testament because that makes it seem like it's something that we don't have to refer to, right? For example, right? So let me I'll get this first precept, right? Because these things are written for 4 times for our learning. I'll go to the book of Romans 15, right, to kickstart this. Right? Romans 15, and it's not number 4. Right? Because we can't say, okay, and that's where you see Christianity is quite cheeky. You're not trying to follow the volume of the book. The volume, you never start a movie from the middle. You start, a movie from how are you gonna know what's Matrix, the first video? You're gonna know how did Neo get? I was just now flying around the world. How did you get? We have to know what was at the beginning, right? So we're gonna read from the book of Romans, chapter 15, and I'll read verse 4. Right? The book of Romans, chapter 15 and verse 4. It reads, "For whatsoever things were written aforetime were written for our learning, that we through patience and comfort of the scriptures," it doesn't say just New Testament only, it says the scriptures, right, might have hope. So to know what's going on, and that's where you see the understanding of the Bible from the Christian perspective is incredibly wrong. Because they just say, okay, the New Testament, right? Paul was teaching that we shouldn't keep the commandments, Paul was an apostate, whatever. Right? Christ said, just there's only 2 commandments. 2 commandments and nothing else. That doesn't make any sense. Right? So the scriptures are written for our learning, right? Also, because like even when why didn't Paul say the New Testament? Right? So you realize that a lot of teaching that's done in the so-called Christian church isn't sincere, right? It's not sincere. It's not synonymous. The Bible says the Bible, right? And that's where we have to be careful because they say, well, is that the Old Testament? Right? But it's the volume of it's the Bible. It just stop. Yeah, exactly. It's the volume of the book, right? I'm going to read Hebrews chapter 10, and I'm going to read verse 7, right? It says, "Then said I, lo, I come in the volume of the book. It is written of me to do thy will, O God, right? Volume of the book, with the whole Bible. Say I come in the volume of the New Testament, right? With the Gospels, or Paul's letters, or Revelation. Right? It says the volume of the book, right? So we have to hold our, we have to be ask them sincerely and integrity when we're going through the scriptures. You can't just say, well, that's the New Testament, I want to read it. You got to be sincere with this, right? I'm also going to get another precept as well. In the book of Sirach. Sirach. We're going to go to the book of Sirach, chapter 51, and I'm going to read verse 23. Right? It says, Sirach 51 and 23, draw near unto me, ye unlearned, and dwell in the house of learning. Right? So if we're drawing near to the Most High, we want to read the volume of the Bible. We have to go through the whole understanding of it. Right? We can't understand it. Okay, the New Testament, right? Or the Gentiles, right? We can't understand that without knowing the prophecies that are from the beginning, right? Israelites being scattered amongst all nations, for example, right? So it says ye unlearned, right? So we, to some degree, right? We're not saying we're perfect and we know all of it, but we have the understanding to a better, and we should have the understanding better to those that are saying they're believers or Christians. We should have that understanding if we're reading and rightly dividing the word of God, right? Also, let's go as well to Psalm 40 as well, on that point of the volume of the book, right? Yeah, calm, right? It's the book of Psalms, chapter 40 and verse 7, and it reads, then said I, lo, I come in the volume of the book, it is written of me, right? So just like it's in Hebrews 10 and 7, Psalms 10 and 7, Psalms 40 and 7, sorry, it's saying I come in the volume of the book, right? It is written of me to do thy will, right? Same thing that's pretty much said in the book of Hebrews, right? And I'll read verse 8. It says, I delight to do thy will, O my God, yea, thy law is within my heart, right? So we see here, and this is the unsincerity of Christians, not wanting to actually adhere to what the book says, right? Because they don't want to do the will. They don't want to do keep the commandments of the Most High, really and truly, right? But can't. So we're gonna dive into this now, right? And even on the point of Judges, right? I'm sure we see. Oh, okay, Khan. Okay, Khan. I think brother said he can read through the Zoom, but we see, for example, like from my understanding of history, we see here in the UK, we see Judges, right? And I don't know if you guys have ever seen they have that little wig. From my understanding, right, I could be wrong, I could be winging it, but from my understanding, I don't think I've ever seen a so-called Caucasian with hair like that. So when you see that big, kind of looks a bit perm, some sort of massive hair that they kind of try and copy, I personally think that comes back to our people that had hair like that, and they're trying to implement that. You know, when you see any law or court going on, they always have some sort of wig thing kind of on, and then they take it off when it's finished. It's like, I don't know what that kind of, where do they get that from? You know, because Caucasians don't really have that kind of hair, right? Can you have a point? No. Oh, okay. All praises, can't, right? So cool. Let's first as well. Let's go to Luke 24. We'll go to Luke 24 as well, right? Because really the law is to open the understanding, right? To open the understanding that that we should have, right? It's to open our understanding, right? So I'm gonna read it. All right, it's the book of Luke, chapter 24 and verse 44. So this is after Christ's death and resurrection. This is after that, right? So it says, verse 44, and he said unto them, these are the words which I spake unto you while I was yet with you, that all things must be fulfilled which were written in the laws of Moses and in the prophets and in the Psalms concerning me, right? So Christ, our Lord and Savior, is saying that, there are things that are in the quote unquote Old Testament, we'll say for this sake, right, that were written of him, right? That all things need to be fulfilled, right? Not all of the things have been fulfilled yet, right? It says, verse 45, then opened their understanding that they might understand the scriptures, right? So when they're going through this, they're going through the Psalms, right? Through the prophets, right? Through the law, right? That's opening their understanding to know, okay, cool, that's what's got to happen. This has got to take place, right? People got to be scattered. And, this has happened. This has got to happen. This has happened, though. For example, right? Christ's suffering. We then Acts 3 and verse 18, right? Christ's suffering, that's been fulfilled, right? But not everything else has. So Christ is now opening the understanding of the prophets, right? The apostles through the quote unquote Old Testament, which our Christian brothers and sisters do not want to read, right? And say, oh, that's their thing. That's just the Bible, man, right? So we can't use that term Old Testament to just nullify what the Bible is actually saying. We don't want to do that. That's unsincere. That's not sincere at all, right? So let's get now into this understanding of judgment, right? Because everyone's gonna be judged, right? Even the other nations, we're gonna be judged, right? Everyone's gonna receive judgment, right? So I'm gonna start at Galatians 6, right? Galatians 6. Go to Galatians 6 and start from verse number Galatians 6, and we'll start from verse 7, right? This is a book of Galatians 6 and 7. It says, be not deceived, God is not mocked, for whatsoever a man soweth, that shall he also reap, right? Meaning, whatever it is you're doing, right? That's what, if I reap wickedness, then what do you think is going to happen to me? Wickedness, right? Right. But if I reap love and kindness and generosity, charity to my people, same thing is going to happen to me, right? That's how it works, right? And even that, we shouldn't have this preconceived notion where it, like in, for example, the Christians, and I don't want to, just say Christians, but that's the example we're given, right? We don't want to have that preconceived notion that we think everything's just going to be always good, right? It doesn't work like that. That's a false reality, right? Job was put through all kinds of madness, right? He still kept faith in the Most High, really, did he not? Right? But you see that and that's an example in the Old Testament. Why don't we read that, right? So it says, verse 8, for he that soweth to his flesh shall of the flesh reap corruption, but he that soweth to the Spirit shall of the Spirit reap everlasting life. Meaning, if we're not gonna us being carnal, right? We're gonna be led to destruction. We're gonna be on our way to this destruction. If we stay and move according to what the Spirit says, right, and what the Scriptures say, that's going to what? Everlasting life, right? And that's what we pressing towards the mark for, everlasting life, right? So we gotta have that mindset of not trying to. And let me get another verse as well. I'll go to Sirach 3 or Sirach 2 rather, right? It's a book of, and if I'm going too fast as well, please let me know online too. I'm going too fast, just let me know and I'll do my best to slow down, right? There's a book of Sirach, chapter 2 and verse 1. It says, my son, if thou come to serve the Lord, prepare thy soul for temptation. So within this walk as Israelites, there's going to be things, right? And Bible believers, right? There's going to be things that you're going to be tempted by. Right, so that doesn't mean, that's not something that's just, okay, cool, I gave my life to Christ, I'm saved, and now there's nothing more I've got to do, and you're just walking through the world, and it's fine. Right? That's not the concept that the notion we should have, right? If you come to serve the Lord, right, we see that throughout the Bible, right, the forefathers, the patriarchs, right, were tempted, right? They were tempted because they came to serve. Even Christ was tempted, right? It says, verse 2, set thy heart aright and constantly endure and make not haste in the time of trouble, right? In the time of trouble. So that's what we got to do. We got to endure, right? We got to endure hardness, right? As a good soldier of Jesus Christ. So cool, right? So cool. Let's go now also to 2 Corinthians, right? Go to 2 Corinthians. Second Corinthians, right? Because even when it comes to reaping what you sow, you don't want to just be doing it sparingly, right? In small amounts. We want to be lukewarm, right? With our what we do, right? But we want to do righteousness anyway. That's the aim, is to be righteous, right? To be perfect, right? So book of Second Corinthians chapter 9 and verse 6. But I say this, he which soweth sparingly shall reap also sparingly, and he which soweth bountifully shall reap also bountifully. So if you're going to reap things, right, we should do it with, all your heart and all your might, right, and all your soul, right? You got to be, you can't be 1 foot out, right? You got to press towards the mark, right? Do it with sincerity, right? That's what you got. That's the mindset that you have to have, right? Verse 7 as well. It says this: every man according as he purposeth in his heart, so let him give, not grudgingly or of necessity, for God loveth a cheerful giver. So we want to be when we be loving, and we don't want to do that with sincerity. We don't want to do it, okay, I'm just doing it because the commandment said, that's why I'm doing it. Well, you want to be truthful with it. Say, okay, cool, I genuinely love my brother, right? You don't want to say, okay, cool, your sister kind of asks you for help, and you say, fine, I gotta do it because the commandment says so, right? That's not really, we don't have that nature as people, right? We don't have that. And we should, in this truth, we should have that. That's what we should have. We should aim to be, okay, oh, you need help? Okay, yeah, I can help you with this, right? You know what I'm saying? That's being sincere. Oh, I might not be able to help you, but I can do this for you, right? That's with sincerity, right? And I'll read as well verse 8. And it says, and Yahweh is able to make all grace abound toward you, that ye also having all sufficiency in all things may abound to every good work, right? So it says, as it is written, he hath dispersed abroad, he hath given to the poor, his righteousness remaineth forever, right? So we see here that we want to replicate this. We want to replicate this same mindset of being able to, judge our people as well, right? Giving correction to our people, right? Being able to receive rebuke from people, right? That's what we want to be able to do, right? So cool. Let's go to as well. And we're going to go into the law, right? We're going to go into the law, right? So before that, I'm going to pull up the word, and I'm just going to read it out, right, on the blue letter Bible for the meaning of judge, right? The meaning of the word judge, right? And I think we always say this as well. Let's not always etymology, context supersedes etymology as well, right? We don't want to, okay, let me see what the meaning of it is, right? In the context, right? Like Gentiles in its context refers to sometimes the other nations, sometimes to our people that are scattered amongst the heathen, for example, right? So let me get the word judge, right? So this is the word judge on the Blue Letter Bible, right? And it reads, it says, where is that? Okay, hold on. All right, so the word judge. The word judge. Yeah, we got to have patience as well, right? That's one of the fruits of the Spirit, right? Praises. So, judge. Let me get that in Judges chapter 1 and 3. All right. Bear with me. Okay, I'm going to pull it up on the Google definition. Right, so a judge, right, according to the Oxford Language Dictionary, I believe it says, a public officer appointed to decide cases in a law court, right? The other similar words are justice, magistrate, lord, or lord justice, right? So we see that that's what the word judge really means, right? To govern, to give decrees over the people. Like, for example, within our communities, we should have, because not everyone can be a judge, man. Not everyone can, be a judge, right? But we should have people that judge fairly, that judge with righteousness. That's what we should have, right? So I'm gonna get my first precept on that, right? In the book of Exodus, right? The book of Exodus, because we see that there were judges that were set up to help decide matters, right? Like we should have in our, like I said, we should have amongst ourselves, right? Because we shouldn't rely on a system that is oppressive to us, right? Because that doesn't benefit us, right? They don't say, okay, cool, okay, this happened with, John and Michael, right? They're not going to decide how a family, dispute is going to go, right? He didn't pay back this money. How do we deal with it? They're not going to do that, right? And you see, for example, you see how people, they go to like these things like Judge Judy and Judge, all them kind of judges, right? And they just air out each other's business, just airing out each other's business all over the world. And now you're a meme, right? And that's not how we should be doing it, right? We shouldn't be. We're like a reproach or a byword to these other nations. How they look at us. Right? Yeah, look, this is funny. They're on there. He didn't pay him back £50 because they bought him. Like that's you know what I'm saying. We're a reproach to the other nations now. They look at us like oh, the word as well. Yeah, cool. This is the word for judge, right? It's shapat, right? A primitive root to judge, right? I.e., pronounce sentence for or against, by implication, to vindicate or punish, by extension, to govern, passively, to litigate, right? It says to avenge, condemn, contend, defend, execute, or be a judge, right? So that's what judgment is, right? In the Strong's, right? That's what judgment is, right? Right. So we're gonna go to the book of Exodus 18. Right. Take a look. There's a work, so I can't. I might not have a thing for that, but yeah, it has enough battery. Should be. Oh, cool. Here you go. Yeah. So we're gonna read Exodus 18, right? And start from verse. Let's start from verse 13.
The book of Exodus, chapter 18 and verse 13, and it reads, "And it came to pass on the morrow that Moses sat to judge the people, and the people stood by Moses from the morning unto the evening."
Right. So we have an example, right, of judgment taking place, right? For example, like you see in the so-called UK judges, you have someone that sits there and he says, okay, cool, present what the issue is, right? You felt this person done that to you, right? This person's trying to defend them, right? Moses, we see that implication here, right? With Moses being sat to judge the people, right? Go on.
Verse 14, "And when Moses' father-in-law saw all that he did to the people, he said, What is this thing that thou doest to the people? Why sittest thou thyself alone? And all the people stand by thee from morning unto evening."
Right. So Jethro, right, he was like, okay, what's going on? What are you doing how are you governing the people, right? Go on.
Verse 14. "And when Moses' father-in-law," verse 15, "and Moses said unto his father-in-law, Because the people come unto me to inquire of God, when they have a matter, they come unto me, and I judge between one and another."
Right. So you see, what verse did you read, Salakia?
Verse 16.
Right. So Moses was made a power, right, to judge the people, right? Like we see in the book of Judges, right? For example, Samson, right? We see, for example, people like Judith, right, that were raised up to judge, right, the other nations, right? Let's get that in Exodus 7 as well. Let's get that in Exodus 7. Start from verse Exodus 7, and let's read verse 1. Let's read verse 1.
Book of Exodus chapter 7 and verse 1, and it reads, And the Lord said unto Moses, See, I have made thee a god to Pharaoh, and Aaron thy brother shall be thy prophet. Thou shalt speak all that I command thee, and Aaron thy brother shall speak unto Pharaoh, that he send the children of Israel out of his land.
Right, so we see here, Moses was made a power. He was made a judge over the people, right? So, like, for example, we see that later on in the book of Judgement, which we'll go into, showing you that there were people set up to judge. So when we have that idea that we can't judge people, we see that we're not really being sincere, right? That's a false concept we see. Saying, oh, well, you can't judge me. Really, that's pride. No one can tell me nothing. That's that spirit you get, like, when you're amongst, in the Christian spirit, right? In the Christian church. Oh, you can't tell me nothing, right? My daddy's the pastor, right? That's what they push, right? But even in Israel, anyone can get rebuked, right? Rebuke isn't okay because that's having respect of persons, right? Not respect of persons, and respect of persons doesn't mean okay because he's from another nation, we have to respect him, right? That's not respect of persons. But that's what they say. That's what they try and say. That's they twist in the scriptures because they're unlearned, right? Being respect of persons meaning because he's very rich or he's poor, I can't tell him about the Bible. Well, he's rich. He's got a lot of money, right? That's why Christ said it's hard for someone that's rich to enter into the kingdom of heaven. Paraphrasing, because what they got too much money. You're puffed up. I don't know how no one can tell me nothing, right? Cool. Let's jump back to Exodus 18, right? Because we don't want to have that, man. That idea. Oh, you can't judge me. You can't. Right? Moses was a judge. We just nullify what Moses done and say, okay, that was wrong, right? Read from verse 17, Dr. Sean.
Exodus 18 and verse 17, and it reads, And Moses' father-in-law said unto him, The thing that thou doest is not good.
Right. So Moses, Jethro wasn't saying in a sense, okay, hey, stop judging the people, right? He wasn't T.D. Jakes. He said, okay, hey, stop doing that, right? Don't do that. No judging. That's wrong. Don't do that. Jethro was saying this in terms of correction, right? There's a better way to expound it to him how he can judge the people, right? Go on.
Verse 18, Thou wilt surely wear away both thou and this people that is with thee, for this thing is too heavy for thee. Thou art not able to perform it thyself alone.
Right, meaning, hey, look, don't bear that burden of it. For example, let's say, we have two brothers, right? They have an issue. This brother kind of stood on his shoe, right? We're now going to say, okay, cool. Hey, Salakia, hey, go get Moses, please, right? And then they go get Moses. He's coming to judge a matter about somebody stepping on someone's shoe. And that's, obviously we still got to judge the matter, but it's an inconvenience. It's not like even with the court system today, right? There's certain courts that will, the higher the court, the more serious the matter. You know what I'm saying? You're not going to damn, okay, cool. It's a petty crime. All right, cool. Take him to the highest court possible. That's a waste of time, right? There's courts that are in place. There's judges that, Jethro is pretty much telling Moses, hey, look, do this. This is how you should do it, right? A better way to not inconvenience yourself. Not saying that these judgments are you don't want to deal with it, it's boring. No, you're saying, look, there's stuff that, okay, cool. There's small matters, there's big matters, right? Like, for example, amongst yourself, your people are parents, right? You might have your kids, right? Something silly. You're gonna say, okay, cool, let me judge them out. You might just say, okay, you might get your daughter to do it, the third eldest out of them, right? Because it's not a matter you need to deal with, right? Go on.
Verse 19. Hearken now unto my voice, I will give thee counsel, and God shall be with thee. Be thou for the people to Godward, that thou mayest bring the causes unto God, and thou shalt teach them ordinances and laws, and shall show them the way wherein they must walk, and the work that they must do.
Right? Meaning, teach them laws. That's laws to govern the people, right? And the law was in the beginning, right? The law was in the beginning. So teach them laws to govern them, right? How can we deal with disputes? How do we deal with these issues that we may have amongst our communities, for example, right? That's something we gotta learn to do. Because that's what the laws are for. The laws are in place for, okay, cool, this happened, you kind of stole my ox, right? Okay, how do we, or I believe you stole my ox, let's go to the judges. How do we do that? Right? How do we deal with this matter? Right? Go on. It's 21.
Verse 21. Moreover, thou shalt provide out of all the people able men, such as fear God.
Right. So see that able men, meaning not everyone can just be a judge, right? Not everyone. Okay, cool. I'm a judge. You can't just proclaim, even to be like a lawyer, for example, or get to that position. Hey, it takes years of you got to get this qualification, right? Someone's kind of might oversee how you get to that position. And all that. There's steps to becoming a judge. It's not just anyone, right? Not gonna damn have we're not gonna damn have like I don't know TDJ is not gonna be a judge. He wouldn't be a judge, right? He wouldn't be a judge, right? There's certain people that they don't have that thing of fairness within them or righteousness to say, okay, cool, I made that person a judge. Some people don't have that quality, right? Can't read on.
Moreover, thou shalt provide out of all the people able men, such as fear God, men of truth, hating covetousness, and
Sister's got to mute up. Right? Cool, yeah. Just read that verse again, 21.
Verse 21.
Yeah.
Able men such as fear God, men of truth, hating covetousness, and placing such over them to be rulers of thousands, and rulers of hundreds, rulers of 50s, and rulers of 10s.
Right, showing you that there was, different within Israel, there was different responses. You're over thousands, right? You're over 10s, you're over 50s, showing you that not everybody had that quality to say, okay, hey, I'm gonna, put me as a judge, right? Because there's certain people within our community, and they ain't judging the community correctly, right? I know, some people kind of say, when you might teach, rebuke someone, hey, don't judge me like that. Maybe if you guys done it like this, then I would listen. Well, rebuke, we can't accustom or comfort. We can't make the rebuke fit you and say, okay, this is how we should. We're going to rebuke you like this then because you asked for it. That's not how it works. That's not how it works, right? Can't read on verse 20.
Verse 22. And let them judge the people at all seasons.
And let them do what?
And let them judge the people at all seasons. And it shall be that every great matter they shall bring unto thee.
Right, great matter, meaning there was matters that were not okay. Cool, that's crazy. We don't need that, right? That's it. I'm not saying this again, nullifying the judgment or the issue, showing you that there's a degree of things like we say with the court system. We're not going to give you a damn a terror case, right? A terror case and somebody that just stole a phone. Obviously it's both wrong, but it's not. They're not. One is more heavy than the other, right? Go on.
But every great matter they shall bring unto thee. But every small matter they shall judge.
Right.
So shall it be easier for thyself, and they shall bear the burden of thee.
Right. Cool. Showing you, like again, there's small matters, large matters. That's what we have in the scriptures, right? So cool. Let's get Leviticus 19 and 17. Because when you read verses like this, it shows you like the lack of sincerity that Bible believers will have. It says you can judge. Where's that? And now you're reading, that's the law. Well, the law was done away with. Well, if the law was done away with, we're not judging people, right? And now we're just letting all sorts of madness take place because there's no governance, there's no judges set in order to govern the people, to govern the church, right? Got that?
Leviticus chapter 19 and verse 17, and it reads, Thou shalt not hate thy brother in thine heart. Thou shalt in any wise rebuke thy neighbor and not suffer sin upon him.
Right. So that's real love, right? To rebuke your brother or your sister, right? That's real love. That's correction, right? That's chastisement. Okay, yeah, we've done this wrong, right? Like with us, right? Because of our disobedience, give me that Deuteronomy 8 and 5. Because of our disobedience to follow God's laws, right? His commandments, his governance that he set over us, that's led us to the situation we're in, right? Like, for example, they say, amongst the Caribbean culture, they say, if you don't hear, you must, right? If you don't hear, you must feel. Showing you that if you don't follow the judgments that have been set, right, by the judges, something's gonna happen, right? You got that?
Deuteronomy chapter 8 and verse 5. Thou shalt also consider in thine heart that as a man trusteth his son, so the Lord thy God trusteth thee.
Right? Showing you that that's correction. The Most High, because He loves us, that's our correction. Give me that as Amos 3 as well. Amos 3 and 1. Because that's real correction. To judge someone is true and sincere correction. Right? That's how we show we love we love each other. If a brother kind of says something to me, or he done whatever, or let's say brother kind of he's eating pork, right? The correction, right, so that we don't suffer the sin upon us, because we kind of just said, okay, cool, hey, but us not even saying something, but we got to be wise with what we say. We're saying, okay, go and do what you want to do. When we allow that to happen, that's us. That sin's upon us now, because we didn't say nothing. We didn't say, okay, cool, hey brother, did you know that the Bible says this about that? True love is saying, okay, hey, look, brother, see this? Smoking, you're defiling the temple. Oh, I didn't know that. Some people might say, well, that's that. I don't believe in that. Well, brother, hey, I just got to tell you, because I love you. That's correction. I can't let you not go by without saying, okay, look, we're better than that. We've got to do this. That's how we, and even with people that say they're spiritual, right? They might smoke, but it's like defiling your temple means showing you that that's correction. Now, okay, cool. I got something to work on, right? That's true love, right? Go on.
The book of Amos, chapter 3 and verse 1, and it reads, hear this word that the Lord hath spoken against you, O children of Israel, against the whole family which I brought up from the land of Egypt, saying, you only have I known of all the families of the earth. Therefore I will punish you for all your iniquities. Can two work together except they be agreed?
Right, showing you again that our correction from the Most High God, right, is for example what we see in the curses, right? These nations that were sent unto us because of our disobedience, because we didn't follow, the judgments that were set, we didn't follow these commandments, right? These were things that were put upon us, right, for correction's sake, right? Like if your child's be disobedient, okay, I might take away the TV, I might take away the Xbox. That's correction, because now you gotta kind of buckle up and follow what the rules I've set. You know what I'm saying? So that's what it's all about. Let's go as well to let's go to Judges. Let's go to the book of Judges, right? Because even in Judges, we can't say, okay, we believe in the Bible and then we just skip past the book of Judges and say, nah, that's talking about something else. Well, hey, Salaki, hold on. Book of Judges, we'll get Judges 1, I believe it is. Judges 1, Bible sure. And verse, hold on. All right, let me get Judges 1 and verse 5.
The book of Judges, chapter 1 and verse 5. And they found Adoni-Bezek in Bezek, and they fought against him, and they slew the Canaanites.
Salakia. Well, even that is judgment. That's judgment. But Salakia, give me Susanna 1 and 5, sorry. Because that's judgment. Yeah, Susanna, the book of Susanna. Right? Come on. All right. That's judgment. Right? Even death is judgment. Right? Your mom kind of, she kind of done that to your dad kind of, hey, that's judgment. Right? That's correction. Right? Good. Please. 1 and 5.
Book of Susanna, chapter 1 and verse 5. The same year were appointed 2 of the ancients of the people.
Right.
To be judges.
To be what?
To be judges. Such as the Lord spake of, that wickedness came from Babylon, from ancient judges who seemed to govern the people.
Right. So there were judges appointed. Right. It wasn't just in the law, in the time of Moses. There were judges in the time of Susanna that were also appointed to rule over the people, to judge the people. Right. And judgment isn't always it might not be something that's always good. Judgment could be a bad thing as well. Right. Give me that in Sirach 20. Right. Because we like I said, we think judgment, hey, judge me like this. maybe if you told me to not do it in this way, then I would listen. Well, hey, some rebuke is not always comely, right? You got that? That's verse 1.
The book of Sirach, chapter 20 and verse 1. There is a reproof, but it's not comely. Again, some man holdeth his tongue, and he is wise. It is much better to reprove than to be angry secretly.
Right, because hey, to rebuke someone openly is better, right? And the real correction, we don't want to. Okay, I shouldn't. I don't want to say nothing, but then I kind of go home and we should have corrected that person, because rebuke is not always a thing. Okay, that was a good rebuke, right? That was a great rebuke. Rebuke is not always comely, right? He didn't do it. We didn't do it properly. Well, rebuke is just correcting someone, right? Correction, right? Read verse 3 as well.
Verse 3. How good is it when thou art reproved to show repentance? For so shall thou escape willful sin.
Right, because it's a good thing to be corrected, right? We should take correction cheerfully, right? We should take correction. Okay, cool. Now I got something that I got to work on, right? Because if you're in this truth, you're on this walk, and you're just saying, cool, I got my fringes, and then you're putting your arm up and say, okay, this is fine. This is the life. This is the real Israelite life. Well, that doesn't make sense, because that's comfort. That's being comfortable, right? Let's go as well to Sirach 3. Or Sirach 2, Brother Cashapp. 4. Sirach 2.
Book of Sirach, chapter 2 and verse 4. Whatsoever is brought upon thee, take thee cheerfully, and be patient when thou art changed to a low estate.
Right, go on.
For gold is tried in the fire, and acceptable men in the furnace of adversity.
Right, acceptable men, right? When we're corrected, when we're rebuked, right? This is something that we should take cheerfully, right? Whatever situation we comes to us, right? Whether good or bad, hey, it's a learning curve, as they say. It's a learning curve, something that we got to be able to. All right, cool. This is what happened in that situation. What can I do better, right? Like that's what happens with work. You get assignments, right? They kind of mark it. Okay, question 5. Yeah, you answered like this. It was very good. But however, I think it would have been better if you done this. You know what I'm saying? There's certain things that we got to be able to take cheerfully and be able to take well when it comes to correction, right? Let's also get 1 Peter chapter 1 and 22, right? Because being able to correct each other is something that should be normal. You can't have that mindset where no one can tell, no accountability. Lacking accountability is not gonna be able to build a kingdom, right? It's not going to be able to build a nation. It's not going to be able to have structure within a household, right? Having accountability, really. Oh, okay, cool. I didn't know that. Having flaws, there's nothing wrong with that. But it's now, how do you now develop them flaws, right? And as well, even with correction as well, I think we should also be as much as we can give correction, right? We should be able to take correction. We shouldn't say, cool, okay, like us, for example. I remember I got corrected. I remember there was a breakdown I was watching. It was one of the brothers in America. He was talking about you're calling off sick to work, right? And I was like, damn, you're calling off because I must have called in sick that week. I was like, he's talking about me. Kind of maybe switch off the live, because there's some things, and that's how this walk's supposed to be. You kind of see stuff. Oh, Rob, that's Rob. He corrected me. I was thinking about it in the shower. I was like, he kind of cut me, But I can't read that. 1 Peter 2, 1 Peter 1 and 22. But sure.
The book of 1 Peter, chapter 1 and verse 21. Who by him do believe in God, that raised him up from the dead and gave him glory, that your faith and hope might be in God.
Right.
Seeing ye have purified your souls in obeying the truth.
Right, so that's like us. We're on this walk now. We're doing our best to purify ourselves, right? Purge out the leaven that we have, right? Go on. But that was 1 Peter 1 and verse 21 we started from. Right?
Book of 1 Peter 1 and verse 22. And it reads, Seeing ye have purified your souls in obeying the truth through the Spirit unto unfeigned love of the brethren. See that ye love one another with a pure heart fervently.
Right, so we got to have that same, apply that same thing to our brothers and sisters. Right, we got to be able to do that too. Right, we got to be able to be able to purify, just as we purify ourselves. And we got to spread the love. Right, we got to spread the correction to our people too. Right, because that's provoking them onto good works. Let's go to Hebrews 10. That's provoking them onto good works, to correct them, to judge them. Right, we can't have this economic judgment. Right, that's wicked. Right, you don't want to have that mindset. But even, when it comes to judgment, it's like some people, it's like, how are you gonna correct me? I can't tell you nothing, but you have the ability to correct me. You be able to, we'll go to that as well. Right, Hebrews 10 and start from verse 23. Bible show.
The book of Hebrews chapter 10 and verse 23. Let us hold fast the profession of our faith without wavering, for he that is faithful that promised. And let us consider one another to provoke unto love and to good works.
Right, to provoke unto love and to good works. That's what you're supposed to do when you're judging someone. Like, I called someone yesterday, I called them a fake Christian. Right? And then he kind of spun back. He said, well, you're not going to call me that. You got to contend for the faith. When you hear something, oh, you're a fake Christian, and you have to show them why you're a fake Christian, and he's like, oh, you're right, that isn't it. I do got to do that. Right? That's provoking someone onto good works, right? Go on.
Not forsaking the assembly of ourselves together, as the manner of some is, but exhorting one another.
Right, exhorting one another. Right, that's encouraging each other. Hey, brother, hey, the certain things I see, I think, try doing this. Right, try when you speak, try doing this. Right, carry yourself like this. Right, look, don't become a robot though. Now you're telling about, hey, move your left arm, and he's moving his left. No, you don't want to be just a yes man. Right, but go on.
But exhorting one another, and so much the more as you see the day approaching.
Right. That was Hebrews 10. Hebrews 10. Right. Hebrews 10. Right.
For if we sin willfully, after that we have received the knowledge of the truth, there remaineth no more sacrifice for sins.
Right. Because like when we hear this correction, and we should take it, okay, cool, I understand that. Right. I definitely understand that. Right. So let's go as well to give me Proverbs 27. Right, Proverbs 27, right? Because it's good to rebuke each other, but you don't just want to be that, now you're just known in Israel for being the mightiest rebuker. You're just walking around, okay, sister, your shoes are wrong, right, brother? You don't just want to be, you don't want to have that name, right? That's all you're doing. You're just waving the finger every day. It's just you're not talking to no one. You're just saying that's wrong, and you're just doing that. You don't want to be known for that, right? God, read that book. Verse start from. So we're going to read verse 5, Proverbs 27 and verse 5. I believe it is.
The book of Proverbs, chapter 27 and verse 5, and it reads: "Open rebuke is better than secret love."
Right, because that's what it's about. Openly rebuking. It doesn't mean, okay, cool, we're out in front of the church, right? Let me openly rebuke you. You kind of stand up in the church. That is wrong. That's not open. That means, okay, cool, showing and being truthful. Okay, bro, kind of taking to the side. Hey, we kind of had this issue. We talk it out. That's open rebuke. Doesn't mean, okay, we're out in the open. We're out in the wilderness, right? Okay, now everyone here. Everyone, can you hear this? Right, hey, brother. Right. That's not what open rebuke is, right? Cool. Read on.
Open rebuke is better than secret love.
Right. Go on.
Faithful are the wounds of a friend, but the kisses of an enemy are deceitful.
Right, faithful. So someone to tell you, a friend is gonna tell you, hey, look, hey, that's wrong. Someone that's deceitful is gonna say, hey, he's kind of smoking now. He's gonna encourage that. Someone that's deceitful is gonna encourage that, right? And give me, you got more now? Okay, let's go to Sirach 6, right? Because that's gonna multiply friends, right? Having really. Yeah, correct, right? So we'll start from verse 9. But point being is that friends are the ones that are going to provoke you onto good works, right? Especially those in the truth. They're going to provoke you. Okay, sis, or brother, hey, this is, I think this, right? And it's not bad to do that, right? Let's start from verse number 5 first. Sure, 6. So Sirach 6 and 5, right?
The book of Sirach, chapter 6 and verse 5. Sweet language will multiply friends, and the fair speaking tongue will increase kind greetings.
Right, see that? So sometimes, like something I see, for example, I see this, I'm generalizing, but a lot of the time I see from amongst women that they kind of, in the teenage region of things, right? They tend to have less friends. And I think because when you're like, and I kind of see it, maybe, you might have seen it when you're growing up in school, you see that, girls kind of do this thing where, it'll be like the pettiest reason, and now we're not talking. We're not talking it's been 5 years, in secondary school, she took my gel pen. She took my gel pen, now I'm not talking to her, right? And then, because, you know what I'm saying? And then now they're not friends, because it's petty, right? That's, and that's where you see, it says sweet things will multiply friends, right? But we didn't have this, we didn't know these things back in the world. We didn't know, okay, cool, I kind of we could rebuke someone in the most calmest way possible, right? But we don't want to hold on to grudges, right? I read on.
Verse 6. Be in peace with many. Nevertheless, have but one counselor of 1,000.
Right. So you can't have bad people telling you what to do. But we want to be peaceful among all men. Right? That's what we want to do, right? We definitely want to be peaceful, be peaceful among all men. Right? Now jump down to verse let's jump down to verse number 16. Verse number 16.
Verse 16. A faithful friend is the medicine of life, and they that fear the Lord shall find him. Whoso feareth the Lord shall direct his friendship aright. For as he is, so shall his neighbor be also.
Right, because that's that provoking onto good works. That's that correction, that rebuke, right? That love, right? And let's go to Leviticus 19 again as well. Right, that's that love. That's not dealing falsely, right? That's not bearing false witness. That's not lying and saying, okay, cool, yeah, brother, that was fine. Or brother, that's a good thing, right? That's not that's not fearing the Lord first of all, and that's not directing your friendship right. You saying to your brother, okay, go and do that, go and smoke that 3-5, right? That's not provoking them onto good works. That's you're bearing for you're dealing falsely and saying, okay, yeah, go and do that. The Lord never said go and smoke that, right? Let's get that. Leviticus 19 and verse 11.
Leviticus 19 and verse 11. Ye shall not steal, neither deal falsely, neither lie one to another.
Right. So that's just a basic commandment, right? We don't want to deal falsely among our brethren and our sisters and tell them, okay, cool, and lead them on now, right? We don't want to do that, right? That's not a righteous judgment, right? That's a wicked Israelite, right? As well, give me Sirach 4 and 27, because sometimes we put ourselves under people, right, or kings, right? You see that in the scriptures that were wicked, right? And now their whole household has been overthrown, right?
The book of Sirach, chapter 4 and verse 27, and it reads, make not thyself an underling to a foolish man, neither accept the person of a mighty.
Right. So we don't want to be, we see, for example, like Ahab. Ahab is probably one of the worst examples, right, of a king, right? Worst example, right? He let the Jezebel run his thing to the ground, right? And we see that the Lord set up spirits on the left-hand side to go and deceive him, right? So he kind of, his downfall was, he kind of set himself up for that, right? He didn't want to set himself in order. He didn't want to kind of, follow what the word says, right? He was let's get Sirach 10 as well. He wasn't a king that was judging correctly, right? Because he wanted to steal people's land. He said, okay, cool. He went back to Jezebel. Oh, wait, he didn't give me that land. I really want it. He kind of turned over like that. I really want it. And she said, okay, no worries, Ahab. You know, she can say, "Oh, no worries. Okay, I'll do that for you. Don't worry." Right? Right? That the Lord's not dealing with that. Right? Sirach 10 and verse 1.
The book of Sirach, chapter 10 and verse 1. A wise judge will instruct his people, and the government of a prudent man is well ordered.
Well ordered, right? In judgment, right? You're a wise judge. You're not just bearing false witness and judging matters falsely, right? You're not just saying, okay, that happened, and then kind of, you know, there's a judgment about to take place, and now I'm sliding Brother Zion here. Yeah, I know you're going to deal with that matter. I kind of look around or look here a little and there a little, right? And I kind of slide in some money and say, okay, yeah, I know you're going to be the judge, but hey, anyway, hold that, right? If you know what I'm saying, right? And that's what you see amongst this court system, right? That's not what they have, because when you look at the court system today that's set up in the UK, really a lot of them go back to being Masons, right? And when you look about how they deal, like, because I read a few books on this, is that if a fellow Mason, right, is about to be convicted or charged, right, they let's say the Stratford Lodge, right, or let's say the Holborn Lodge, because I know I've been in there's a Freemason museum in Holborn, right? There's a lodge there, right? Let's say there's a lodge in I don't know, Stoke Newington. I think there's one there as well, right? They the guy from Stoke Newington, he might get in touch with the guy from Holborn, right? And he knows the judge that's doing the case, right? He says, okay, yeah, nah, we got a friend. He's a brother. They'll call him a brother. We got a brother. One of us. He's about to go to this court. He's got court, right? He's looking at 10 years, right? And then because they can't, according to how they govern themselves, they can't convict him and put him in prison. That's how they go. They can't convict him and say, okay, I probably going to prison. They can't do that, because even amongst the Masons, they got their way of governing amongst themselves. Just like as Israelites, we have ways that we govern ourselves, which is what? The laws and the commandments, right? So you'll see a lot of these cases, like with these, let's say, celebrities, a lot of the time, like let's say JP Morgan, right? There was a cargo that was found with tons of cocaine, right? And nothing happened to him. Nothing happened to this guy. We don't talk about. There was a cargo, a massive cargo shipment, and the boat is registered to him pretty much. And they said, kind of just control or deleted that whole. Now we never heard about it ever again, right? Why is that? Probably because when you're in that kind of that side of the world, right? Then we're gonna make it disappear, right? Just like Mr. Epstein. What do you think happened to him? Right? When people, and that's judgment, right? That's the judgment. That's what, when you make a contract with that side of things, now you're you get down with those rules. Now, okay, cool. Let's say we're in the UK, he's in the MI5, right? Now he's kind of getting old. He's saying, like, I want to leave. We're gonna be watching this guy, and then when he gets, he starts doing interviews. Hey, you think he's gonna do that interview? Yeah, they ain't doing that interview. Right, because there's a law that you got to follow. There's things that non-disclosures, for example, that people might sign. Okay, once you leave this, you cannot say nothing. You sign that. Look here, you sign that. If you sign that, your family might go missing. You might go missing, right? So there's certain things, certain laws, even amongst these secret societies. You see, that's why, like I said, a lot of these elites, they do not go to jail. They might get, he got suspended sentence, right? He got suspended sentence, or better yet, he was gonna speak out, because I was watching a video on it with the Epstein thing, right, this morning, and it was saying that someone said an interesting comment on the video. They said he wasn't killed, quote unquote, because he was a pedophile, right? He was killed because to protect more the people that are even above him, right? Showing you that there's a code of conduct with even in them, right? We have our own code of conduct, and that is certainly not it. What he was doing, right, on that little island, right? So cool. We see that same thing, right, with Masons. Everyone has a law that they go by, right? Even laws of the ancient time, right? They all come from somewhere, right? And let's even get that in Genesis, because there's a misconception. They say, the law wasn't given to us from the beginning. And the law was there in the beginning. Right? This is 1 and 3. right? Because the law is a what? The law, what is the law referenced as? Anyone know? The law is a lamp. The law is referenced as light. That's what the law is, right? Read that, Baba Kashapp.
The book of Genesis, chapter 1 and verse 3. And God said, let there be light, and there was light.
Right.
And God saw the light, but it was good.
So in verse 3, the light that was there, right? That's the law, right? Give me Proverbs 6 and 23, right? That's the law. The law is a light, right? Guidance. How do you walk? How are you supposed to walk, right? How am I supposed to be judged, right? Read that.
The book of Proverbs, chapter 6 and verse 23. For the commandment is a lamp, and the law is light,
Right.
and the reproofs of instruction are the way of life.
Right. So that's what literally the law is. The law is a light, right? The law is a guidance unto our feet. So let's also get that, because the law was since the time of the beginning, right? You know, there we have like things like the unclean animals, right? We have let's go to Genesis 3, right, where we see that, or Genesis 4 rather, sorry, where we see that there's even sacrifices. Why were there sacrifices in the time of Genesis? Well, because the law was about, right? There was governance then also, right? In Genesis 4 and verse number, let's start at verse 3.
The book of Genesis, chapter 4 and verse 3, and it reads, and in process of time, it came to pass that Cain brought of the fruit of the ground an offering unto the Lord. And Abel, he also brought of the firstlings of his flock and of the fat thereof. And the Lord had respect unto Abel and to his offering.
Right, so it's showing you that even in the beginning, there's laws. There were laws there. It wasn't just, okay, cool, they know we need and you know, this false conception, they say, okay, well, I need God to have written the whole Bible. And they want Yahweh to kind of have a big pen, right, a big gold pen and a big piece of paper, and he's writing, look, Genesis 1 and 1, and no, right? We obviously have the 10 Commandments, which I'm sure given, and those really they encompass all the rest of the laws, right? But let's go now into a bit more judgment of or even dealing matters amongst ourselves. And let's go Matthew 18, right? Because there's ways we got to learn how to judge amongst each other, right? We don't want to just be, like I said, you know, have that name of just, you know, I'm the judge in Israel. I'm the judge. There's no other judge but me. The last I checked, I actually how Hashim Yoshai, right? So give me that in Matthew 18 and verse 15. Sure.
The book of Matthew, chapter 18 and verse 15. Moreover, if thy brother shall trespass against me, go and tell him his fault between thee and him alone.
Right.
If he shall hear thee, thou hast gained thy brother.
Right. So, like we said, like we referencing that Proverbs 27 and verse 5. Open rebuke is telling your brother alone, telling your sister alone. Okay, brother and sister, you know, this is what happened, right? And it says if your brother does something wrong, right, we go, hey, let's tell what happened. Well, this is the matter. I feel like this, right? That's correction. That's how we deal with matters, right? That's how we judge each other, correct each other, right? Go on.
Verse 16. But if he will not hear thee, then take with thee one or two more.
Right.
But in the mouth of 2 or 3 witnesses, every word may be established.
Right. Because you know, hey, we got to prove all things now. How did we, you know, did anybody see it? Right. That's again judging the matter. Did somebody see? Okay, this happened. Zachariah was there, Zion was there, Sister Judy was there. Right. They saw that those are my witnesses. Right. Go on.
And if he shall neglect to hear them, tell it unto the church. But if he neglect to hear the church, let him be unto thee as an heathen man and a publican.
Meaning, hey, just you know, don't even deal with that, bro, pretty much, man. Unless he's repentant. But even with dealing amongst our own, right? You know, we can deal a matter, right? It doesn't mean now, okay, now we gotta keep the person in the congregation, right? Because there's things where people they were killed to prevent the wickedness spreading amongst the congregation, right? We see that in the time of Moses, right? They were thrust through. Obviously now we have grace and mercy, right? Give me that as well, First Corinthians 5, right? Because that's what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to purge out unleavened, right? Purge out wickedness, purge out wicked Israelites that talk about anyone that's in the black community, right? And they're trying to destroy the black community. They're a devil, right? People will say stuff like that and then be that same person that's doing it, right? Yeah, that's madness, right? Go on. 5 and verse 6, I believe it is.
Book of 1 Corinthians chapter 5 and verse 6. Your glorifying is not good. Your glorying is not good. Know ye not that a little leaven leaveneth the whole lump?
Right, go on.
Purge out therefore the old leaven, that ye may be a new lump, as ye are unleavened. For even Christ our Passover is sacrificed for us.
Right, meaning that just because let's say we've gone through that Matthew 18 and 15, talk to our brother or sister, showing them or this is that, doesn't mean now we got we've gone through those processes. Doesn't mean now okay, cool, let's keep them around, right? Because you don't want to bring a sinner into your house or someone that's he robbed me, and now let me bring him back into my house again. And that's madness. Your house is going to be just overthrown, right? Give me let's get as well Sirach 27. Right, Sirach 27 and verse 3, because you don't want to just say, okay, cool. You don't want to do that, right? Now your family is destroyed, right? Nothing's going well, and because you're letting that thing in, you're rubbing shoulders with people that are not trying to direct you right. They want your downfall, right? Like we was going over with a brother yesterday, like in the Christian church, for example, when they speak in tongues, right? They'll speak in tongues. They could be saying something wicked, saying, okay, they're speaking that jibber jabber that they speak, and then they're talking about trying to steal everyone's money. And he's saying, and then everyone says amen, and then the congregation says amen, and they say it back, right? You don't want to do that, right? Read that book, sure.
1 Corinthians.
Sirach. So the book of Sirach 27 and verse 3. Sure.
Sirach 27 and verse 3. Unless a man hold himself diligently in the fear of the Lord, his house shall soon be overthrown.
Right, so we got to gird up our loins, right? For example, sisters got to gird up your head wraps, if you want to say that, right? We've got to be diligent to not allow our households, right, to fall into damnation, right? We want to be able to judge accordingly and judge righteously amongst our congregation, amongst our friends, right? In the truth, that's what we're supposed to be able to do, right? But can't. Let's also give me Zechariah 13 and verse 6, because sometimes it's even our own people that are the ones to just like Jesse Jackson, right? These people like this, like they seem like they've been doing stuff to benefit the community, but last I checked, correct me if I'm wrong, I believe he's the one that came up with the term, is it African American, or one of these people that perpetuate themselves to be a helper of the black community, right? They really just brought it down, right? If even like within music, you got a lot of artists. They think, I'm doing it for the youth, and they're down promoting some sort of whoredom, right? That's the demise to our community, right? And then these people are going to be judged for that as well, right? So let's get that book. Zechariah 13 and 6.
The book of Zechariah, chapter 13 and verse 6, and it reads, and one shall say unto him, what are these wounds in thine hands? Then he shall answer, those with which I was wounded in the house of my friends.
Right, because your friends might be the ones that they're not, and that's really when there's no proper governance, right, amongst the people. That's what you see goes on. That's what you see within us that we don't even know we're Israelites, because we don't go with it according to this, right? Now when we're dealing with a matter, we just say, well, just like it's not a movie and you got I've got an idea and the bulb pops above your head. That's not how it works, right? There's laws of how we deal with stuff, right? There's definitely laws of how we should govern any situation that takes place, right? Let me get that as well in Exodus. Yeah, Exodus. Let's go to Exodus 22, right? And verse 9. For example, because that's a good place where we see what takes place and what should be given back. For example, if someone takes something or steals something or does something that they're not supposed to, what's the repercussions? Because we don't have that today. The policeman's not going to say, okay, cool, right? Okay, your family member, Aunt Jackie's birthday bash. Someone spilled the drink on his T-shirt. How do we deal with it? The police are not going to. They're not going to waste their time because it's a small matter. They're not going to go, oh, hi, yeah, this like no. That's an inconvenience, right? Read that.
The book of Exodus, chapter 22 and verse 9. For all manner of trespass,
Right.
whether it be for ox, for ass, for sheep, for ramian, or any other manner of lost thing, which another challengeth to be his, the cause of both parties shall come before the judges. And whom the judges shall condemn, he shall pay double unto his neighbor.
Right. So there's repercussion. Right. Same way, you kind of took this brother's ox. Right. You took his raiment or whatever. He suspects you. You come before the judges. Right. The thing that's judging us today, that's governing us today, is what? The word, the Bible. That's our judge. Right. And obviously we have Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. That's the ultimate judge. Right. We have this now. Because in the kingdom of heaven, this is a foreshadowing of the things to come, right? The commandments, right? Things that are going to be in the kingdom as well. These are things that we got to adhere to, right? Coming before the judge, right? Just like you would in a court case. You come before the judge and what happened. That's how it goes. Okay, now you got to pay back this guy because you didn't pay him back because everything, remember, it's time as well. The judges, like today in the court system, the judge might say, okay, because they get a cut, I'm assuming, and even if someone takes you to court, you have to cover the court proceedings. Yeah, you gotta pay, especially if you lose. If you lose the case, then it's even worse. But obviously, if you win, you're kind of good because you don't really have to pay. So from what I understand, anyway. But a lot of the time, when they take you to court, you gotta pay their fees as well because they've taken their time to do that, right? But come on. So we have there's certain judgments that we have. For example, the judgments of wicked Israelites, right? The judgments of wicked Israelites. There's going to be judgments of them as well, right? There's going to be judgments of them as well. Let's get the book of Zechariah, right? The judgments of the nations, right? Judgments of everyone. Everyone is going to receive judgment, right? Get that Zechariah. Hold on, let me give an example. Let's go to Jonah first. All right, let's go to Jonah, because he kind of received judgment too with what he was called to do something, right? He was called to do something, right? There were prophets that come and do this. No. I don't want to. People, there was judgment that was given to them, right? And that's why we got to not make haste to come and keep these commandments, really, right? So give me Jonah chapter start from Jonah 1 and verse 1, read down to 3, Bible.
The book of Jonah, chapter 1 and verse 1. Now the word of the Lord came unto Jonah, the son of Amittai, saying, Arise, go to Nineveh, that great city, and cry against it, for their wickedness is come up before me.
Right. So he was the Lord kind of said, go there and do this, right? Because he was called, right? He's called to go and do that, right? But what he had something else in mind, right? Go on.
But Jonah rose up to flee unto Tarshish from the presence of the Lord, and went down to Joppa, and he found a ship going to Tarshish. So he paid the fare thereof, and went down into it.
Right. can't. So I finished that, Brother Kashapp.
To go with them and to Tarshish from the presence of the Lord.
Right. So he said, sometimes we kind of have we get a calling from the Most High. Sometimes it might take a kind of. I think I said this to my dad. I think one time, like sometimes you kind of got to let people make their journey and kind of bang their head, and then they kind of have to realize, oh crap, I should have listened. Right, just like even me, I have that same kind of mindset now. Where it's like there's a lot of things when I was younger, I was kind of like I was naive. My dad's telling me something because we're assimilated in this society where they push, hey, be what you want to be, do what you want to do. But my dad told me better. But because I didn't follow what my dad told me, I ended up following what they were telling me, and that was no good. But now, obviously, I appreciate the correction and the love that my dad, our parents, right, have shown me. Cool, hey, certain things you got to do. If you don't do them, what do you think happens? Judgment happens, right? So Jonah had that same thing, right? And go down to verse 17, because he this is judgment that he got, right? Go on.
Verse 17. Now the Lord had prepared a great fish to swallow up Jonah, and Jonah was in the belly of the fish 3 days and 3 nights. Chapter 2.
I can't. Yeah, that's it. So you see there the judgment that he did kind of the Lord told him, "I go do this." He said, "Nah, I'm gonna do so." That's sometimes we have that right. So that was Jonah
1 and 17.
Jonah 1 and 17, right? So we have that same thing as well. Sometimes where so we read Jonah 1 and verse 1 to verse 3, and then we read Jonah 1 and verse 17, right? Showing you the example of how where we're given instruction by the Lord to go and do something, right? Sometimes we kind of say, well, and we try and kind of tempt the Lord and say, well, I know you said this, but hey, I kind of got a better idea. But hey, repercussions happen, right? And we don't want to be, in the belly of a fish.
That's that self-willed spirit.
You see that?
God's will, not your will.
Right, yeah. Because a lot of the time we try and kind of say, okay, I'm better. I'm better. So I'm going to do this. But hey, the Lord told you, hey, do that. That's better for you, right? Give me that in 2 Kings, right? With Solomon, 2 Kings 2, I believe it is, right? Because the law was really set up to help us prosper, right? As a nation of people, right? We don't tax each other and try to say, okay, you gave me £50. You're already broke as hell. You got no money. You're saying, oh yeah, your brother, he gave me £50, right? You borrowed £50 of him. He's saying, okay, give me £75 back. He's now turning into the IMF. He's now become NatWest. He's saying, yeah. Add 25 on top of that. He's already broke as well. Why is he trying to tax you? Right? That's why we don't prosper. We don't prosper because we don't actually govern ourselves properly. We're trying to say, okay, now your brother, he's broke as well, right? He's trying to turn into Elon Musk. He's trying to say, no, well, £50, hey, make that 25. Add 25, give him back 75. That's not a righteous judgment, right? That's going against the commandment because you're not supposed to add usury. You're not supposed to add usury to your brother or your sister. But we don't know this. If we had these things amongst our community, where we okay, cool, £50 back. We're trying to turn into investors and all these banks. We don't. That's not helping our community. That's not fluctuating money amongst our community to build up each other. That's regressive, right? You got that?
2 Kings chapter
2. 2 Kings 2. Start verse what? Start 2. So we're going to 2 Kings, right?
Book of 2 Kings chapter 2 and verse 2, and it reads, and Elijah said unto Elisha.
Salakia. Sorry, 1 Kings. I always get confused with that one a bit, right? 1 Kings.
The book of 1 Kings 2. Chapter 2 and verse 2, and it reads, I go the way of all the earth. Be thou strong, therefore, and show thyself a man.
Right, so obviously this is the time where David was coming to die, right? And he's telling Solomon, hey, be a man, be strong, right? Now jump to verse 3. Yeah, read on.
Verse 3. And keep the charge of the Lord thy God, to walk in all his ways, to keep his statutes and his commandments, and his judgments, and his testimonies, as it is written in the law of Moses, that thou mayest prosper.
That means what?
That thou mayest prosper in all that thou doest, and whithersoever thou turnest thyself.
Right. So to follow these judgments is a thing of literally prospering, right? Because that's now we're prospering as a nation. We're not just okay, and we don't. That's having that kind of individualite mind, right? You're thinking for yourself, right? We have to think about everyone in the nation, right? How do we clean up our communities? How do we help black-owned businesses, right? How do we help that? By keeping these commandments, right? We don't want to, even with that, like we don't want to say, okay, cool, this sister, she kind of got like a oud business, right? And she's selling her things for £30, right? And you're saying, oh, well, that's a mad price. But then you'll go to them. Where are you gonna go to what kind of shops? Name any perfume brands they have. Coco Chanel, see that Coco Chanel, you got that Coco Chanel spirit. You're saying, oh, I'm gonna spend is what £70 for the Coco Chanel brand, the new one, the latest one. You're saying, oh, but it's £30 though. Where's my Israelite discount? Right? Yeah, it's not in there. Right? You know what I'm saying? So that's not us prospering. Right? We have to have that same energy for our people, right? We have to have that same energy for when it comes to our people that are trying to prosper. Especially if it's black owned, we've got to put the money into that, right? And righteous judgment, be fair with, not just saying, okay, well, that's a Coco Chanel, that's the sister's business. I want the Coco Chanel, right? Help your sister out, right? Help her prosper as well, right? Give back to your own. Charity starts at home, like they say. Starts with our own people, governing our own people in the right way, right? Because we have wicked people, right? Let's get as well 2 Maccabees 6, right? 2 Maccabees 6, and we start from verse 1. Because we had wicked people that wanted us to depart from keeping these commandments, right? In the time of the Maccabees.
The book of 2 Maccabees, chapter 6 and verse 1. Not long after this, the king sent an old man of Athens to compel the Jews to depart from the laws of their fathers,
right,
and not to live after the laws of God,
right,
and to pollute also the temple in Jerusalem, and to call it the temple of Jupiter Olympius.
Right, man. So we had, like, for example, when you read in that account, you had people that were amongst our, like we have today. You have people that are saying, okay, well, why do you want to keep God's laws? Because it's going to be better. It's a way for us to prosper, right? We don't want to be wicked Israelites saying, okay, yeah, keep the commandments, keep the commandments. Hey, cool, behind the doors. Hey, now I'm, we don't want to be like that. We don't want to do, okay, let's not keep the God's laws, because that's how we prosper. And when you look at it, when you look at all, let's say like the Quran, right? For example, when you look at that, that doesn't give us as a people a way to governance each other. It doesn't do that. This, first of all, gives us our identity, shows us, hey, look, hey, this is how we should live. When you put the two together, the Bible is a way of life, right? It's culture and heritage. That's what was given to us, culture and heritage for us to live by, right? Okay, love your wife as you love yourself, right? Don't steal, right? Don't do this. That's a way of living, right? And really, the Quran is just a recitation of the scriptures anyway, right? So we had wicked people, like today we have wicked people that they don't want to. I remember because they're getting they're really just selling their souls, right? They're selling their souls to get a bit of buck, but at the same time, and remember who's behind when it comes to the music industry, because that's a big one. Who's behind the demise, right? Or who's behind putting the money into the communities or into the music, right? Exactly. It's the Amalek. It's Amalek that's doing it. It's the Edomites that are pumping money for us to destroy our communities. Because they don't want us to prosper. If we can keep these commandments, we see that, well, there's a change. I can't go and stab my brother because he's done that, whatever. I have to forgive him, right? I have to have forgiveness. I can't be a wicked Israelite and say, cool, no, you know what? Yeah, let's go do this. That's wicked, right? That's not something that the Lord ordained for us as a people to say, cool, that's the right way to live, right? Like we see with David, he said to Solomon, and this is a way that you are going to prosper, right? You're going to prosper amongst your family. Imagine a gated community of Israelites. Imagine how beautiful that would be, right? Yeah, that would be beautiful. You know, there's judges that are set in place, judging righteously. There may be a matter at hand we got to deal with. How do we deal with it? Okay, let's go before the judges. Remember, there's great matters, there's small matters, there's matters that are, you know, you can. Give me that in 1 Corinthians 6 and verse 2. Because start at verse 1. Because we're supposed to be able to judge amongst each other. We can't, you know, if we're going to be judges of the earth and we can't even judge now, how does that make sense? How are we going to judge in the kingdom? Right? How are we going to do that? So if we had, and that's why when you think of what, you know, the kingdom to come, I think of beauty, I think of peace, I think of a time where we're at rest, right? You know, there's fair judgment, there's not an oppressive system that doesn't work to our benefit, right? Let's read that in 1 Corinthians 6 and verse 1. Start.
The book of 1 Corinthians chapter 6 and verse 1. Dare any of you having a matter against another, go to law before the unjust.
Right, so don't go to the police are not going to sort out the situations in our community. The government's not going to do that. They always do it. You know, I realize they always do these campaigns. Well, we got to clean up the community. How long are we going to do that for? How long are we going to sit down? We're going to, okay, next time, I know what we're going to do today. Black Lives Matter. That's the campaign name. We're going to march around and we're going to get up. Well, where the reparations? The reparations have not come. Because these people, they're not even righteous judges. They damn take your money, yeah, you're donating. Okay, yeah, Black Lives Matter, that looks good. You're sending $500. And then they damn use that money to buy a house. And then, you know, that money, now you're thinking, oh, well, I thought Black Lives Matter. Well, it's not, these things are not benefit, they don't benefit us, right? We have to keep these commandments, right? Faith in Christ, and that's going to give us real guidance, right? We don't.
Go to law before the unjust and not before the saints.
Right? Before the saints. So before the Israelites, that's what we're supposed to go to, before the judges, right? Read on.
Do you not know that the saints shall judge the world? And if the world shall be judged by you, are you unworthy to judge the smallest matters?
Right. So we got to be able to just judge matters amongst ourselves. If we can't even judge as we are now, how so much? You know, when we judge on earth, you're not worthy to judge. Because you can't even deal with the small, oh yeah, he kind of hit me by accident, and now I'm mad. Well, you got to be able to judge that, and that thing all comes back to really adherence to the scripture, right? It comes back to following God's word, right? Saying, okay, cool, judgment. Do I want judgment? Right? Do I want to rule over the nations? Yes, I do, right? Because even in this world, right, there's spirits, right, that are sent to judge the world, right? Let's get that as well in Sirach, right? Sometimes we'll look at that in Sirach 30, because there's spirits that are sent to judge, right? We're going to be the judges of the earth, right? We got to know how to judge amongst our communities, amongst ourselves. We don't know how to do that. Because why? Because we follow that white man, what the white man says. Because really, even with their laws, where they get it from? They get it from the Romans and the Greeks, and who they get it from, right? It all goes back to ancient civilizations. A lot of these laws, they go back to ancient civilizations, right? So the Israelites, they had their way of governance, right? Same thing with the Sumerians, right? The native Africans, right? All these ancient kingdoms of Babylonians, right? They had that, right? But this, for us, this shows us who we are. We have this, we got to follow this, right? So give me Sirach, I think it's Sirach 39, sorry. Sirach 39, because there's spirits that are sent to judge the earth. Just like we're going to, you know, Most High winning, we're going to judge the nations, right? There's spirits that come. That's what's going on right now, right? Read Sirach 39, sorry, in verse 27.
The book of Sirach, chapter 39 and verse 27. All these things are for good to the godly.
Right.
So to the sinners, they are turned into evil.
Right. So all these laws are for good, right? But the sinners are saying, okay, no, I'm trying to rob, I'm trying to steal. Right, go on.
Verse 28. There be spirits that are created for vengeance, which in their fury lay on sore strokes. Right. In the time of destruction, they pour out their force and appease the wrath of him that made.
Right, so the spirits, even right now, right? They say, you know, the Euphrates is drying up, right? And they say like there's an angel, and they know that's a spirit, like you see, you know, with things of famine, right? Death. Right, that's the spirits that are on the earth, right? That's what's being kind of brewed up, and you see it kind of take earthquakes coming out, right? Wars, people blowing up that place and doing that. These are spirits of vengeance, right? Because the Lord could rile up your spirit to say, okay, what's the solution? What do we do, right? Solution is here, but we want to say, well, we need to go in and get the damn nukes from wherever, get the nukes and try and bomb. We can't do that. We don't have our people can't even govern ourselves. How the hell are we going to go over there and try and do a war or do a coup or something? We can't do that. We can't govern ourselves, right? Because really, we got to let the Lord do that. What we got to do is just, okay, cool. Vengeance is mine, saith the Lord, right? Paraphrasing the verse. We're going to now try and go over to Israel and say, cool, this is our land. They've taken it back. And they're going to say, get the hell out of here. They arrest you. They ship you back off. Right? That's what we're going to do. Right? Yeah, they're probably saying, what are those fringes? Right? Oh, you're one of those. Okay, cool. We got a special place for you. And now you're in the FEMA camps. Right? But read on in Sirach 38.
Verse 29.
Right?
Fire and hail,
right,
and famine, and death. All these were created for vengeance.
Right.
Teeth of wild beasts and scorpions, serpents and the sword, punishing the wicked to destruction.
Right. So showing you that spirit of vengeance is the judgment that our people will receive, and those of the other nations. Right, we see that taking place now. We've been seeing it taking place, but now it's kind of right. It's kind of almost about to just cause a catastrophe, and now everyone's saying, "Okay, them people." Right, you see the persecution kind of taking place. Right, let's go as well to Revelation, right? Because we see persecution taking place, and there's going to be persecution against us, right? You see, obviously, the brothers, they kind of had that, right? You see, there was persecution upon them. Right, and that's we're going to go to, it was Sirach 39, the one we last read. It was Sirach 39, and we read from 27 to verse 30. Right, that was Sirach 29 and verse Sirach 39 and verse 27 to verse 30. Right, and we're going to read Revelation 6, and we're going to go to verse number let's start from verse 8.
The book of Revelation, chapter 6 and verse 8, and it reads, "And I looked, and behold, a pale horse, and his name that sat on him was Death, and hell followed with him, and power was given unto them over the fourth part of the earth, to kill with a sword, and with hunger, and with death, and with the beasts of the earth." And when he had opened the fifth seal,
right. So even that, you see there that these horses, they represent something, right? You see here the pale horse representing death, right? And you see that's taking place on the earth right now, right? Go and read on verse 9.
And when he had opened the fifth seal, I saw under the altar of the souls of them that were slain for the word of God,
right,
and for the testimony which they held,
right.
And they cried with a loud voice, saying, "How long, O Lord, holy and true, dost thou not judge and avenge our blood on them that dwell on the earth?"
Right, because the Most High is going to judge this place, right? There is definitely going to be judgment coming, but you see here that in his fifth seal, right, there's going to be persecution of them that are slain for teaching the word, and that's not happening to Christians. Christians is not going to be, well, you're talking about all nations coming together and everyone being together. What? God divided everyone. So and remember, a lot of these pastors, they're paid money to teach a certain doctrine. They're paid money. That's why you see, like Bishop Nathaniel, right? He was talking about. He said, "Hey, for they were trying to get a church, and I believe Atlanta, right? And for them to get that church, there's like certain banks you can go into, like church banks, and they give you funding, right? And then they say, okay, cool. You want that church? What you got to do for us is teach this, and you're kind of looking at that sheet, and it says, teach Christ is white. Teach that everyone is together. Teach that God loves everyone. That no one's gonna die. Well, that's what they kind of like to push, and that's what you see with the Israelites when we're teaching. What happens? Persecution, right? Like Paul, he was persecuted. They tried to, and they were falsely accusing him. They were falsely judging him, and these were Israelites doing that, right? Saying, okay, hey, this guy, he's dangerous. Don't talk about the, that's what people feel, They feel that if we and I remember when it happened with the brothers last week, right? If we're no harm to you, we're just reading a book. How much power does the word of God have for you to say, hey, call the police, get the police over here now? This guy is saying something that's coincidentally true, but he's saying something I don't like, right? Because hey, every nation shall bow, every knee shall bow, right? Because they want to hear this word. Wow, I don't want to hear this. You guys are too loud. You guys got to move around the corner when no one can hear the word, right? Give me that in Isaiah as well, because someone's got to pay for what they've done, right? If you were to say, people say, well, why do you have these posters? What's the purpose? Because it's to remember the days of old, to remember, because with every nation, they've done something to acquire their wealth. They've done something. What is it they've done? Whether it's remove your identity, whether it's to destroy where you are at, they've done something. And what would you think? Oh, the Lord's just going to say, well, the Edomites, they're kind of cool, right? Esau, he was all right. No, there's judgment that they got to face, right? So let's get that in Isaiah 14, and let's start from let's start from 1 and 2, right? Let's hear this let's hear the good news, right? Let's read that.
Book of Isaiah, chapter 14 and verse 1.
Right.
For the Lord will have mercy on Jacob,
right,
and will yet choose Israel, and set them in their own land.
Right.
And the strangers shall be joined with them,
Yeah.
and they shall cleave to the house of Jacob.
Right. So hey, these other nations, they're gonna cleave to us. They're gonna say, where are the Israelites at? Right? I want to follow them. There's no thing of there's all one. We asked the Christian as the Sabbath started yesterday, right? So called on Friday. I said, how many gates are there in heaven? He said, the pearly gates. This is what I wonder. The pearly gate. There's not one pearly gate. What kind of word is that? One the pearly gates, right? And last I checked, the path is narrow. There's very small that find it. So not a lot of people are in this. There's not a lot of people that are in the truth. Look at Christianity. Look at Islam. Christianity is a massive thing. So how could that be the truth, right? That soothsaying lies of reparations is we don't care about slavery. We don't. Why are you teaching that? It's in the Bible, right? That's why we're teaching it, right? It's the truth. It's showing you who the captives are that need to be set free, that need to hear the gospel. That's not everyone, right? Not every nation, right? Even the Chinese, right? The so-called Moabites, they were, the Japanese, right? That's why they're getting works right now. They're getting the damn, Most guys kind of playing bop it with the tectonic plates over there. It's kind of say, yeah, spin it, flick it, right? That's what's going on, right? Read on.
Verse 2.
Right?
And the people shall take them,
yeah,
and bring them to their place. And the house of Israel shall possess them,
right,
in the land of the Lord for servants and handmaids.
Right, cool. And we're going to jump to verse 21. So you see there that is a man reaping or sowing what he reaps. Because you done this, and this is what you get. Right, now read verse 21 as well. Because this shows you. Huh? Oh, you Salakia, finish verse 2, sorry.
And they shall take them captives, whose captives they were, and they shall rule over their oppressors.
Right, ruling over your oppressor, right? What does that look like? Right, that looks like slavery. That's repercussions. That's reparations, the real reparations. Not this, God said everyone is gonna be together. We're gonna be holding hands and we're rocking back and forth and we're singing "Kumbaya, my Lord," and we're in heaven, right? The nations, everyone, the people, we're excited. No, that's not in the Bible, man. That's a false gospel that people are paid to teach. Right? They're teaching, oh yeah, we're gonna sing, we're swinging and we're seeing it, right? Right? Come on, you got peace? Right, cool. Come on, bring out.
Book of 2 Maccabees, chapter 7 and verse 24. Now Antiochus, thinking himself despised and suspecting it to be a reproachful speech, whilst the youngest was yet alive, did not only exhort him by words, but also assured him with oaths that he would make him both a rich and a happy man if he would turn from the laws of his fathers.
Because they say today, hey, turn away from following good. We had something crazy yesterday. We see a guy who's an Israelite, he's with these two Edomite women, right? The Edomite woman kind of apologized for something she said to me like last week or something. And then we said, tell that brother, Zachariah said to the girl, hey, tell that brother he's an Israelite. she kind of thought about it. She said, no, he's coming with me, or he's coming with us, right? But he don't know what's going on, right? We don't want to forsake God for two Edomite women, man. Go back to read 3 as well if you want to read it, right?
Isaiah 14 and verse 3.
Come on.
And it shall come to pass in the day that the Lord shall give thee rest from thy sorrow, and from thy fear, and from the hard bondage wherein thou was made to serve.
Right, that what?
That thou should take up this proverb against the king of Babylon, and say, how have the oppressors ceased? The golden city ceased.
Right, so it's showing you this is going to be our rest. Yeah, come, we'll end on one more piece of it with that. That's going to be our real rest. Right, the kingdom, not what's on the world, man. Not this. We go to verse 21 and we'll end it there, right? Getting excited with the pieces, because when you hear this is the gospel, man. This is not John 3:16, and that's all we know. This is the true gospel, right? So that was the last verse we read was 2 Maccabees.
2 Maccabees chapter 7 and 24.
Right. So cool. Let's go in Isaiah now. 14, and we're going to read verse 21.
Book of Isaiah, chapter 14 and verse 21. And it reads, prepare slaughter for his children, for the iniquity of their fathers, that they do not rise, nor possess the land, nor fill the face of the world with cities. Right, showing you, that someone has got to pay. It's time to pay the piper, as they say. It's time to pay. Right, this is real reparation, not that damn walking around and marching and say, yeah, Black Lives Matter. Black Lives do matter, but not when you're down being fraudulent with your money and taking us for idiots, right? So with that note, we're going to wrap up in prayer, right, and close out. Right? So yeah, man. So all praises, man. All praises for come together and hear the word, man. That's what it's all about, right? You know, hearing the true gospel, man, right? So, right? Kala, Yahweh Bashin Yahushai, I want to thank you for allowing us to gather here today, to have a holy convocation, for allowing us to dwell as brethren, right, and sisters, and in this truth, to magnify your name, to hear the true gospel, and not the gospel that we've been fed with, with lies, right, and deceit. When we would know that we are and understand through this word of God that we are your children, Yahweh. We pray that you allow us to continue to magnify your name, to allow us to be to dwell near your tabernacle, right? To be one with you, to be on one accord, to be able to judge each other righteously, to be able to love one another, right? To dwell in peace amongst each other, because that is the thing that is going to allow us to inherit the kingdom, right? And magnify your works, so that we can be a light to the world, because we are the light of the world, because we keep the commandments and faith in Christ, and we day in, day out, right? We should be meditating on the scriptures to understand how we should do that. So we just thank you, Yahweh, for allowing us to hear this word, for blessing us and rejuvenating our spirits, day in, day out, right? On the holy day you've ordained for us to have. We thank you again, Yahweh. We say, Amen. 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 All praises, man. All praises. So, shalom to those on the Zoom. Shalom to everyone that's online. Shalom, shalom. Have a blessed Sabbath. We're going to be in MONZ. Shalom.